Welcome to Turning Tuesday. This week I am playing with a piece of Victorian bushfire Blackwood. I believe this fire that it came from was the Grampian fires in 2007. It was donated to Turn SA for the challenge piece back in August, and it was donated by Mal. So Mal is a member and an avid part of the community over in Murraylands, and he makes some absolutely cool stuff. He does a bit of everything. Mal and his wife Jen are both scroll sawers as well, and both of them have made some pretty cool stuff. And so this piece has been sitting here. I brought it home with me from Turn SA. I'd never got around to doing the challenge. However, I was always planning on doing the challenge at some stage. It was just that I ran out of time while I was there. So I'm sorry about that, Mal, but I am here and I am giving it a crack now. So I've never made a twig pot, so I just went with a fairly simple shape, and I just used a drill to take out the center. I didn't do anything overly fancy, and it certainly helped that I picked up this new tool set. So because I picked up the new tools, I've actually got a proper high side spindle roughing gouge. So not the Continental that I've been using for years, and I'm still getting used to it. But I'll tell you what, for this project, it made life a hell of a lot easier. So yeah, and oh, this wood is absolutely gorgeous. So thank you very much, Mal. I really appreciate that. And there goes a piece of bark. Bye-bye. And the words I just said there was, ha! Knew that was happening. Anyway, so, yeah. So, I'll give you some backstory on Mal. When I first met Mal at Turn SA, I was standing there prepping my practice run on the laser engraver, and he walked in and said, "Show me your hand." And so I held up my hand, and he's like, "Yep, knew I'd recognize him as soon as I saw that ring." And I think most of you have noticed in the last couple of videos, I've not been wearing my ring. It is around my neck on a necklace because my hands have been getting a bit swollen with gout lately, and it's just not comfortable to wear the ring. So now that I've got this mostly round, just resting the tool on there to see if I've got any bounce. It's still making a little more noise than I'm comfortable with. So I just wanted to give it a feel, and there's just a little flat spot there. So I've taken one side down to perfectly round, and now I'm just working the rest of it to be relatively similar. There's still a little section in the middle there. From this angle, I can still see the ridge. Standing over the top of it, I couldn't quite see it. And because I couldn't see it, that's why I was running the tool over it. So now I'm going to grab a skew, and I am going to put on a tenon. One end was a little bit smaller, and I didn't feel comfortable putting the tenon on it, so I went to the bigger end, and I'm just doing a peeling cut straight down. So it's just a little arc in, and I'll just give it a little lift to give it a sharp corner using that side of the skew. And that's come out pretty close to perfect. So now I'll just throw it in my shark jaws, and it'll have about 4mm grip on there, and wasn't quite enough for one of the aggressive cuts I did a little bit later. So I went between centers because it is still quite a long piece. Between centers, and just give myself a fighting chance. And so I started there doing a heel cut, and I was getting too much of an angle, so I'm just doing a scrape across the surface there. Just letting the wood come to me. And now I'm trying to square off the end. Taking off that sharp corner there. And now I'm just trying to make this nice and straight, or more to the point, a straight cone, because it's not going to be a perfect straight. And moving into a couple of V-cuts here, trying to define where I want the bottom. And I just said to myself, well, that one's blunt. Now, this tool is my P&N roughing gouge. And so I'm just giving it a quick run here. This is the first time that I actually used it. This tool is going to need a new handle. It has got a split in the handle. So the previous owner, I don't know what happened, but something certainly did. And this tool cuts really nicely. I'm just doing the rough shape with the spindle roughing gouge. I'm not trying to get any real finishing cuts, but at the same time, I am trying to get used to it. And as you can see, it's just another Turning Tuesday with a beautiful catch. Now, one thing I have noticed, since I'm not really experienced with this type of tool, if you end up going uphill, it accelerates uphill. So that was interesting to learn. I'm just coming in with a plunge cut there, and I'm just taking it down. So just arcing it in and getting it fairly close to the tailstock end so that I can not have to work so much away later. So I've decided now I'm going to come in, do some more V-cuts, and start to really define the base of this. You'll notice my hand is up near the ferrule there. I'm not having my hand too much further back, but this is quite a long tool, so it wasn't quite as efficient as I was hoping. This one's the record power one. I think it's a 19 mil. I was taking a little too much of an aggressive cut. I wasn't really getting a smooth cut, so I went smaller and just worked back. As much as I enjoy playing with the skew, and it is quite honestly my favorite tool, I am still learning it. And so part of that is taking on projects like this and just giving it a chance to teach me how it wants to be used. And because each one of my skews is slightly different, so some have got a rounded radius, so the raffin radius, and some I just have a straight across. So it's about trying to figure out which tool I'm using and exactly what it wants. Now I've gone and sharpened my big skew here. I think this one's an 1.5 inch record power. It's a beefy boy. And so what I've done is I've actually started a cove with the heel of the skew, and I'll come back with a spindle gouge a little bit later and clean that up. Now I'm trying to give it a negative rake across that curvature, and I'm like, something's not right here. It's a little bit long. I would like it a little bit more bulbous. So I'm going to try and round off the bottom a little bit more. Some really interesting occlusions in this one. And so right there I can hear that knot hitting the skew. And so I'm trying to take it down past that knot, but try and keep some of it because I suspect it's going to have some really nice chatoyance. Now, this being Blackwood, it by default is going to have whole body shift chatoyance, but on that spot which has the knot, it has a really nice figure of feather. So it's just a really nice addition that I didn't think I was going to get, but I was always going to be happy because Blackwood figure or Blackwood shift is just phenomenal. So it's one of the natural woods that just always shifts. Doesn't matter what you do to it, it's gonna have some shift to it, and it's just gorgeous. So yeah, I'm very appreciative that Mal opted to give this to the turners at Turn SA, and I really have enjoyed playing with it. And I was very surprised at just how soft it is. I'm starting to get a neck shape there that I'm happy with. I am keeping that little step up there just to give it a little bit more definition. And now I've taken the tailstock away and I'm starting to eat it down, slowly work it back in, and I will give myself a little cove that I can work with. I just got a nice little catch out on the edge there. And I took too much of a bite and it just offset a little bit. So it didn't break the tenon, it just offset. Just using that wing, slowly working it down. And I'll come back, do a little push cut in, and then I'll just use that wing again. And then I'll just use that wing to get one final nice curvature. Got a divot in the center for the drill bit to go straight into. I'm using a 12.5mm bit going straight in. And it's for no other reason than it was already in my Jacob's chuck. I'd been working on some JB pens earlier, and so that was the one that was sitting on my tool. And I've decided I want to give it a little bit of a concaved inset there. I didn't want it flat up the top, so I'm just working it down slowly, giving it a nice little shave on the wing of my bowl gouge. I was just doing a very gentle cut there. And just giving it a little bit of a scrape both ways. And just make sure I'm happy with the curvature. Nice sharp entry points, which I'll sand down a little bit, but just wanted to have a really nice sharp point with really nice lines. And I was happy with where that was, so I've decided I'm going to start to work down the connection to the tenon before I start sanding. Now I did go 2 widths wide, and on the separation I did do an underbite so that it has a nice concave base. Now I'm just grabbing some sandpaper, and I will do 120 through to 400. Doesn't take much because it was already pretty good off the tools. I did roll them up to get inside that cove along the center of the piece. And now I'm doing 2 layers of a triple E, and then I will do 2 coats of a Chatoyance glow, because as I said, this is one that shifts by default. Now I don't know why Disco is barking, but he is. I'll go and figure that out after I finish this recording. So I've got the second layer of Chatoyance glow on now, I believe. I got distracted by the barking. And as you can see, that beautiful dark wood is starting to appear with the lovely sapwood there. And has some very nice figure throughout. Now you'll see that I have the tool coming in from an angle, giving it a really nice concave base. I've just got the lathe spinning fairly slow. I think it's about 250. And I'm just letting it go and slowly working it down. So I went and had a look at what Disco was barking at, and it appears all the neighbour dogs are howling. So he's nice and triggered, and that's why he was barking in the background. So I've now separated that off, and I will now mount my Jacob's chuck in the drive end to sand it off and get a really nice bottom on it. I've just gone with a bit of 180 grit here. I'm just giving it a gentle touch across the side and working it down. Happy with that. And what a gorgeous piece. Look at that sapwood. And just loving how this one has come together. Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really love it. Thank you very much, Mal, and thank you to the woodworkers of Murray Bridge. You are fantastic people.